Hello and welcome guys, my name is Mohammed Khan and in today's video we will be reviewing Turing.com. We will know what is Turing.com, we will explain you how to get into it. And so I have a software engineer who is in Turing.com, who created an account over there, who got in and he's earning dollars by staying in India. So here's a full on detailed video and a little about Shubhashish Verma. He's a senior software engineer. He has been working in tech since like forever, like 5 6 7 years, and I will post his LinkedIn profile in the description, so you can just connect with him, ask him questions, or do whatever you want to do. So I called him up, and since he's in Turing and since he already knows about it and how to get into it, for those of you all who are looking to earn dollars by staying in India or in a third world country, then I guess I have the guy for you. So I'm gonna show you guys. So he'll be just doing a quick hello. Hi Shubhashish. Hi, how are you?
I I am okay. So with Turing, and like you said, we'll go through the process in depth and give an honest review of it, so that any job seeker who is like looking, especially for remote jobs in India, they'll have like a better understanding and they'll have like a proper insight, and so that they can know that whether Turing is right for them or no, or like if they should look for other alternatives. So before we begin, like just a brief intro, like you already introduced me, but just to add a bit more on that, so I'm currently a remote senior software engineer working out of India. So I'm currently based in Bangalore, and I have had experience working with startups, early stage startups, some are Series A funded, and like most of them were remote. So I've been in working remotely for like last 3 years by now, and so like this year, I had an opportunity where I wanted to switch my job, and like this year I actively wanted to look for remote jobs, because the last time it was like I had an option between a on-site as well as a remote job, and I just for the sake of experiencing, since anybody would opt for it because of the COVID and the pandemic time. But yeah, like this year is like for me personally, I felt like this is kind of more like effective for me, that I'm more productive. So I just actively went into what are the websites to look for, like where should we apply, working as a Indian remote developer, how can we get at par global market standard salaries, or like things like that. And like I did this for several months, and like this is what like we'll go through in a bit, especially for Turing for this video, and then in coming videos we'll discuss on the other platforms. So
Yeah. So
if that's okay, we
yeah. So before we continue, I just want to stress the fact that when you said about global salaries, so know for a fact people who are watching this, global salaries are like way more higher when compared to salaries in India. So
yeah.
suppose if you're earning like 50 60,000 rupees in India as a software developer, as a senior software developer, there are companies that pay that kind of money.
Yeah.
Uh, but then when if you're looking for remote jobs, they offer a lot of money, so you'll be earning like 2 lakh 3 lakh 4 lakh rupees easily by just doing the same amount of work that you are doing in India. So I just wanted to stress on the fact, on that particular fact. And yeah, we can go ahead and continue. So let's suppose I do not know what is Turing.com. When I essentially started out, I did not knew Turing.com. All I know is LinkedIn.com, and I started
Yeah.
searching jobs over there. So I want to understand, how do we get into that? Like, how do we register ourselves? Like, how hard is it? So let's start off with like, what is actually Turing.com? Like, what is that platform?
Right. So basically, the way Turing, and there are other similar websites like TopTal and Crossover and then others. Uh, but like in a way, their business model is kind of similar. So the way it works is like it's like kind of as a service based, but it's like more of like whatever clients you'll be working with, like they'll be like product based companies or startups, or there could be an enterprise big company as well. And usually what happens is that there are contracts. So you'll be working as a contractor, like as an independent contractor. So the thing is that in terms of the compensation markers, like there will be just mostly just the take home salary, and then the rest of the things I think you have to manage yourself, like taxes and all. But the thing is, it's like up to the like global market standards, or like whatever is the average salary in like US, or like in the wider Asia, compared to whatever is like right now in India. So the way I found out about Turing was like I actually saw an ad on Instagram or somewhere, like in one of the social networks, that this is a good platform for people who are like trying to go for remote jobs. And then the thing is like I also did some Google search, but yeah, like these were the links which were coming up at the first page, like these were sponsored links, and then that's how I came to know about Turing. So if anyone decides to visit the web page, like they should try it out, and like you'll get to know like a brief overview is that it's like it's accepting freelancers or people who are like working as a contractor, and then it will try to interview you as a candidate. Like it will try to put you through some technical rounds, some non-technical into culture fit rounds, and then depending on your performance, if you get vetted, like you'll get access to their community, and then you'll get access to all the matching opportunities which they could have with all of the ongoing clients which they are having. So they have like contracts usually long term. So it's like the shortest would be like 6 to 9 months, and then it's usually longer. So you can work with US clients directly, which are like Silicon Valley startup companies, and you don't have to compromise a lot on the time zone. So right now, like as per the intro call which I had after clearing the vetting process, I got to know that there's like minimum like 4 hour overlap. That's also like depending on the client, if they have like stand-ups late nights or something like that, because as we know, like US India time overlap is quite huge, like 12 30 hours apart.
Yeah.
So what happens is that that's the only, like, I mean, it's not even like you have to like dedicate 4 hours of time. Like you can be flexible, you can just be uh, present in the stand-ups, like the daily stand-up meetings, and then you can continue to work in your local Indian timings. There's no harm in that. So it's flexible in that way. And then the
Before
way it works is
before
that,
before
yeah,
be- I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop you there, but before we move into that, I just wanted to understand. I'm sure the viewers are also like, curious about, like, what are the kind of questions that they ask during the vetting process that you just said.
yeah,
The reason being, a lot of developers over here who are watching this video, who might be watching this video, they are like, what kind of, if they are earning a lot of money, they are like confused. They should have like more skill to get into this
yeah,
platform. But then, I just wanted to understand, like, what kind of skill set is required to get into, to create an account into Turing or TopTal or whatever. Like, what's the
yeah.
kind of skill that you need? Do you need like Fang level knowledge, or like, Mang level knowledge? Is that something like that, or is it like average developer? Like, what kind of questions?
Yeah, actually, first of all, like that's a very brilliant question. So obviously, like everybody should know about what the vetting process is like before they want to prepare for it. And the way Turing's vetting process goes is like, first of all, like once you onboard, like you can sign in using your social media profile. Like you can just sign in using your Google account, sign up using that, and then you'll be getting access to a dashboard where first step, I guess, is to complete your profile details, or like whatever is your background. So let's say if you're into web development, which most of the current freshers and people are pursuing in software development as an industry. There are other fields as well, like data science and all, but I'm not sure if Turing has like respective vetting process for every profile, or like respective roles for that. But yeah, that's obviously like up to you. Like you can obviously check. They have like a good live chat support. So once you're on board, if you have any kind of query, like you can just hit them up, and they'll usually respond pretty quick, like within a day. You'll also get an email update based on whatever conversation you had, so that you have it in history for future reference. So yeah, so first of all, what happens is that you are prompted to select your tech stack. So let's say if I'm a web developer and I've worked with React and Node.js tech stack, so I can pick that. And or like if there is anyone who has worked with any other tech stack, be it in anything like Spring Boot in the web development in the backend, or it could be PHP or any kind of tech stack which is currently in use. they can just select that, and then what happens is that they have to attempt the quizzes based on whatever tech stack they've selected. So let's say if I selected React, Node, and let's say even for database I selected something like SQL or MongoDB. So based on that, I'll get three MCQ tests. Each of them will be like around 30 to 40 minutes, or some could be like 50 minutes max to max, but it's like mostly MCQ. It could be single option. Most of the questions are single option correct. Some of them are multi option correct. But the questions, some of them are theoretical, like something which you should know because you have worked in that particular tech stack. Some of them are like more of like intuitive questions where you might be given like a code sample or a code snippet, and you might be prompted to give the output or like check if the code compiles well or something like that. I think people are pretty familiar who have given like online coding rounds or like MCQ tests on other platforms like Upler's and other things. So it's kind of like similar. And once you get to clear that, you can also retake it. Let's say if you don't clear it in the first attempt. So there is usually like a cool down period. I don't exactly remember for the MCQ test, but there is also like after the MCQ tests are cleared, you will be prompted to take a coding challenge, which is a DSA, data sets and algorithms challenge, which duration is of 30 minutes. And usually the format is like they have their own platform. So it's not like an external platform like HackerRank or something. It's on their own internal platform. You'll be like expected to give the test, I think, in full screen or somewhere. Like they'll have like monitoring setup there. If you change tabs or anything, they have a pretty good judgment of if the candidate is trying to use any unfair means. So because some of I don't know exactly, but I heard that someone on LinkedIn like they tried to just give the test by like they did some tab switching and all, but they were not selected even after their questions were submitted.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that if anyone who tries to give it, like they should be properly prepared. Like take your time, a month or three, and then once you are ready, like you can try to attempt that. So the difficulty level, coming to the difficulty level, there are like two questions in 30 minutes. So obviously it's not like a lead code hard difficulty. It's more like a easy to medium level question, and mostly it's like two easy questions. So they just want to check if you are good at understanding a problem, like whatever is your problem solving ability. Uh, there are multiple languages to select from, like you can choose C++, Python, JavaScript, and all. But yeah, like there are like a limited set of languages. So you'll get to know that once you try to attempt that test. Or if you want to know in advance, what you can do is you can just drop that question onto Turing support, and then you'll get a response through the live chat pretty soon. So yeah, this is the thing. And there is like even if let's say you are still trying to prepare and you just want to check how you perform in that test, you can still attempt it. The only thing is that let's say if you don't qualify, you'll have like a cooldown. So I think the cooldown is 30 days if I'm not wrong. Yeah, 30 days for the coding challenge. So let's say if you only were able to solve one out of the two questions, and then you'll have like 30 days to retake the test. And this like there's no hard cap on, like there's no max restriction on what number of attempts you can give. Like as long as you are being fair in the test, you are eligible to give like at like as many times you want. This is the cool down period applies. So and let's say if you are able to do both of the problems well and you submit within the time, then you'll be like you would have passed the test, which is the good sign. And then the next step is that you are supposed to take an intro call. So also there are like some practical tests. Practical test is kind of different than the MCQ test, because in the practical test it's more like a hands-on thing. So what will be done is that when you take that test, I think that is something which is also like on their internal tool, but it is very similar to like if someone has given any online hiring challenge for let's say a MERN developer or any web development, where like you'll have like for example a question in React which is on HackerRank, let's say the question says that you already have like a calculator, and then you need to finish the functionality. Like you need to make sure that if you clear the press the clear button, it should clear the input, and like whatever operators are there, like plus, addition, subtraction, everything is working as expected. You might be expected to do some sort of state management and all those things, basic things. So that is usually the format for like a front end coding interview and online coding interview. And similarly on the back end side, you might be expected to either like let's say pass given third party API and then pass the response, or it could be like you might have to write some sort of middlewares to check if the user is authenticated and all those things. And there are like other varieties of problems. So the difficulty level for these kind of problems, I would say, like if you are confident in your tech stack, it's not that difficult. It's more like it's you just have to be ready. Like if you haven't brushed up. So let's say because there are people who start out like me. I started out as a full stack developer, but the next job which I was in, it was primarily of a backend engineer. So I lost track of my front end skills. So if you want to go back into full stack, it's up to you. Like if you want to go back into full stack domain, like you can brush up on both front end, back end, and then be ready to give both kind of tests. So yeah, like this is mostly like the intro call, which is the happy part though. So let's say if you clear the coding challenge and then you are on to the intro call, it's more like a technical, non-technical round where it's like someone from the talent team of Turing will come and schedule a call. Like they'll share with you a calendar link, which you based on your own availability, you can book a call with them or her, and then based on that, you'll get a calendar notification. You can get on the call, and then whatever queries you have regarding whatever expectations you have regarding your Turing profile or what kind of opportunities you are specifically looking for, or like what is the work culture, or like what is the way things are like dealt with, like in terms of payrolls and all those kind of whatever questions you have, you can ask that those many questions. First of all, like the other person will themselves like explain some of the basic things, like whatever you queries you have, so that they'll leave the room like last 10 to 20 minutes. I think it's like a 30-minute or like 50-minute call, but it can be wrapped up within 30 minutes. So like first of all, they'll just explain like what is the current market situation, like what are the current compensations which the clients are giving right now. This can obviously vary based on time. So right now we know that there's an ongoing recession, and like even the industry is recovering from it. In the future, it might be better, but right now, like they had this number which they quoted that okay, this is the compensation which we can give as of now, and for depending on your experience and your tech stack, there will be like suitable opportunities. So the thing is, they use like this deal software, which is like a remote HR payroll software. So they'll manage the salaries and all, and you'll be working alongside the client. So whatever technical discussions which you'll be having will be directly with the team of the client. So you'll be directly collaborating with the developers, designers, and the product team of the client. But Turing is the one which acting as like as a mediator or a middleman who is going to pay you your salary, and anything which you have questions regarding your current contract, or if you want to renew, or if you want to change your client, all of those things, you can reach out to Turing support. So that is the thing. But the good thing is that once you get vetted, it's like a lifetime access. So let's say if you are into job search, not right now, but let's say 2 3 years from now, and you don't know what the situation is going to be like. For example, so there might be a situation where you're not able to get interviews into the your dream company. In that case, you still have like Turing as a good backup, or like if you just want to go for a remote job with US exposure, if you want to work with the US clients, it's like a good option which you can try to go for. So yeah, like this summarizes like the vetting process in the
Yeah,
that
so yeah,
answer.
so from what I understand, the first vetting process will be the MCQ questions. That will
Yeah,
be both depending. That will be depending upon the user's choices and interest.
tech
Like
stack.
if I choose Node.js, I'll be the platform will ask me questions on Node.js. That will be an MCQ.
Yeah,
And right after you
yeah,
complete that, there will be a coding interview. Coding interview
yeah,
as in like a real coding technical challenge.
yeah,
So that will be like a lead code easy and medium question. So I have a
yeah,
question. So
yeah,
um, do you have any suggestions on platforms like like Algo Expert has like set of easy, medium, hard, and very hard
yeah,
questions? I just want to understand, uh, is solving easy and medium questions on lead code and Algo Expert is enough to crack that part of the vetting process, or like you just have to be very good at, like, you have to complete the hard questions as well, and you have to add like great level of understanding and great level of problem solving skills. So
yeah.
What do you
Yeah,
think
that's
about
a
that?
great question. So, for specifically for Turing, which we are discussing in this call, I would say like yeah, like you mentioned, if you try to solve the lead code easy to medium questions, or like if you have access to Algo Expert, if you do the easy to medium question, I think that is more than enough. Because like since I mentioned like the time format is 30 minutes and there will be two questions, so it's very highly unlikely that a lead code hard question will be asked. It's up to like easy to medium. So that's a good way to prepare. What we can do, like what I would suggest is like you can if you have lead code, like everybody has lead code, uses lead code these days. So there is like a top interview question playlist on lead code, and then you can filter by topic wise. Also, you can filter by difficulty wise, and you can attempt those questions, and then you can also like check the discussion tabs or like see how other people have done it, or like if you want to know, if you are curious about any other approach or anything, if you want to code in any kind of language, you can practice in lead code in that, which is good. Like there are a lot of questions where things are set up from scratch. Like for example, if you are trying to do like a linked list question, like the linked list and all, the structure will be already there. You just have to you already are getting the input as desired, and you just have to work on the problem and then work on the output. So it's similar, like the ID which you get in Turing, that is also kind of similar, like lead code. It's some of the code will be auto complete. I mean, it will be already there. You just have to complete one method or like one function, which is going to be the algorithmic function which will be completing.
I
So
see.
yeah, that's the format. So yeah, like I would say that if someone is already doing these kind of things, they should be able to easily prepare for that. And yeah, like I mean, if someone is already into content competitive programming, if they are doing it regularly, they are attempting contests and all, then like it's going to be like a piece of a cake for you. But yeah, like anybody else who's just like very, who hasn't done DSA in the past, or like who is new to this, I would say that you should not get overwhelmed. Like there are a lot of now YouTube courses and videos and playlists which you can try to uh, check as a fresher. Like if you don't know anything about DSA, like you can. There are a lot of plenty of materials on YouTube as well as on LinkedIn
Yeah, man. We,
for
I mean,
free.
we as a channel also have those tutorials on like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I forgot to mention like the your channel has pretty good tutorials on specific tech stack like React as well as like on DSA. So I'd advise all the viewers to go and check them out because that's pretty good. Uh, yeah. So yeah, overall like this, if you prepare in this way, I think it should be good enough.
Makes sense, makes sense. So now that I understand that I did not have like Mang level skills and Mang levels problem solving skills to get into like create an account in Turing, I'm stressing to the people who are watching this video. I'm stressing over the fact that you know you have to have good knowledge on the tech stack that you have chosen, because if you do not
Yeah,
have that, then there is a vetting process, like Shubhashi said. There is a vetting process where you are required to complete a project. It's a technical challenge based on the tech stack that you have chosen. So suppose if you have chosen,
yeah,
like he said, like suppose if you have chosen React.js as front end, from what I understand, they might be giving a question like to complete a timer, or maybe
yeah,
like just map some elements, just create a table or whatever. There it can be
yeah,
anything, or some kind of logic that you won't need, you have to implement. And on back end you might be asked to write a small middleware which essentially checks if
yeah,
the user is authenticated or not. So these are
yeah,
the kind of things that you need to uh, you know know. And also know for a fact that you have to be good at, you have to have that. It cannot be like, just you're not working on the tech stack and then you choose this tech stack because I just know a little about
yeah,
it. It's not like that, because you will have questions, and the person who is actually working on that thing is only able to answer. And also know for a fact that if you use chat GPT or anything, if you go to another tab, you're game over. You are
yeah.
yeah, you are essentially failed, and probably you might also be banned from the platform. I'm not sure, but they might do that if you do it very
Actually,
often.
that is the case. So, if they detect it, and they have like a good, I think they have some sort of AI which checks for plagiarism as well as like based on the user activity, right? Like how
Where the
long they were
mouse
on that
goes, and
tab. Yeah.
yeah.
So they can very intelligently check if someone is using unfair means if you like copy paste or anything. So They'll detect that, and then they'll like immediately, like without any warning, they'll like suspend your profile. And then if you reach out to support, then you'll come to know like what was the reason for suspension. It was unfair means or something like that. So
Yeah,
that is
so
how it
never,
works.
never,
And
never
one thing
ever
I
do
forgot
that.
to mention in my previous answer about the vetting process is that, so the first thing is like these MCQ tests, right? So these are timed, and like you mentioned, like if someone is not practicing that particular tech stack or is not native to their tech stack, I mean, just giving it for the sake of giving it, you might not be able to clear it because there are some questions which are specific to that tech stack, which not like just if you have like the theoretical knowledge, it might not cut it. But the one, so this is mandatory step. Once this is done, you have the coding challenge, which also mandatory. Once the coding challenge is clear, then you are like the next hands-on challenge which I discussed, which was a front end if you are doing a React challenge or a backend challenge. Those are not mandatory right now. Like they are like practical challenge which are good for you to prepare for whatever is going to come. Because what happens is that some of the clients, they prefer to take their own interviews as well. So let's say after you are done with the Turing vetting process and you get an interview with one of the US clients, it might be that they also have the another rounds of interviews. So just for simulating and just for preparing you in advance, they have this practical challenge, which is like an optional thing. It has like I think 60 or 30 days cooldown if you don't pass, and there's no restriction on the number of attempts, so you can give it as many times as you want. But yeah, like it's not a mandatory thing. It's just going to condition you well for like whatever is to come if you have like a separate client interview. So, but I would suggest that everybody should go for it. Like it's a good thing to practice, because even if you are not practicing, or like if you are preparing for any job interview in general, whatever previous online coding test which you will get these days for like full stack or a back end or a front end interview, these will be very like the format is very like it's a HackerRank based test or like Code80 based test where you have like some sort of hands on which you have to do based on a front end or a back end tech stack. So yeah, that's about.
Yeah, makes sense, makes sense. Yeah, like I said, I totally understand the whole how you're vetted and everything, and also the nuances about like each and every stage. So coming to the main question, how much will you earn when compared to if a developer is doing a job in Infosys, especially for the Indian audience who's watching this, Infosys or like TCS or whatever, where I believe that packages are like 3 lakh per annum or like 7 lakh per annum. Yeah,
Yeah.
so how is it like different with compared to that? So I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this video also have the same question in mind, like how much will you earn when you get into that platform?
Yeah. So it depends. Like obviously, like
Let's
there's
go with
a
let's go
lot
with
of.
the minimum range to the max range.
Okay. Uh, I'm not exactly aware of what is the minimum provided, but right now for me, for my profile, when I had that non uh, tech intro call, I was given around a number around like 4,300 USD or something like that. So that is like I think around over 500% hike for someone who is like let's say currently working in courses or TCS as of the same experience, like let's say 4 years of experience in the software engineering industry.
Yeah, so
Uh,
that
so
essentially
yeah,
converts to for the Indian viewers, that essentially converts to 4,300 multiplied by 82, which is the current rate as per 2023. It's 3,50,000 dollars, 3,50,000 rupees per month. So that's like
yeah,
huge amount of money if for a developer with like if a developer is staying in India compared to the cost of living and everything. So you will end up earning a lot of
but
work.
again,
Yeah,
like this is for someone who's like around 4 years of experience.
yeah,
So
four
people
years
think
of
that it might
experience.
not be that, but yeah, like I think it should be pretty decent compared to what you're making as a
Yeah,
Indian developer in the other service companies. Yeah.
yeah, makes sense, makes sense, you're right. And then yeah, so ideally, for a developer who's like starting out right now, what advice would you give him, like like where what should he do first? Should he get into DSA first, or should he just get into learning into the tech stack, like web development or like application development or whatever, and then get into DSA? Like what is the ideal approach over here, because I know a lot of people, I know a lot of students of mine, they are like, they are very good at practical knowledge, but they are like very bad at DSA and everything. But then, there are some people who are like crazy, and like they have like crazy level stuff of crazy level problem solving skills, but then they are like very bad at practical. So what is the right amount of balance? Like, how should you start off so that you'd end up being the best?
Yeah, that's like a very unanimous question which any university graduate or like fresher has right now. And every time, like anybody who's graduating, like they'll have this question when they come out and then when they're into the placements. So one thing I would advise is that it's not one way or the other. Like I think you'll have to focus on both the things, like you mentioned, like if someone is very good at development and they're not as good as in the problem solving rounds, it might be because it all boils down to the fact that if you are going for a software engineering job, and if you look at the most widely practiced interview questions or like the interview formats which a lot of companies, if you want to target like whatever they are doing, the format is basically like this. They'll have like a first culture fit round with the HR, and then followed by that, they'll schedule the technical interviews. It would be first would be mostly DSA, data structure algorithms. The next one could be like a system design interview based on the experience of the candidate. It could also be if it's a fresher role, and let's say if you are getting if you have applied for like a month stack full stack developer, the second round could be there could also be like a prelim online coding round, which is what we just discussed about what Turing has as the practical challenge. So the duration of those tests are like 90 minutes to depends. It can be minimum 90 minutes. It can go up to like 2 hours, 2 hours, 30 minutes based on the complexity of the question. If they're like some of the tests, what happens is that there are like also there will be at most two questions, one back end, one front end. But in the front end one, there could be like step by step things. So for example, let's say you get to the first problem, then building on that solution, you have like an incremental second problem, and there could be like three, four problems like that. And the way they test your solution is that they already have like written tests for both the front end and the back end. So even if let's say your code is working functionally well, you should also like check the written unit test just to have a glance that if you have missed anything. Because let's say you did well. I mean, let's say you had to build a countdown timer. You build that countdown timer, but let's say when clicking off a reset button, it should reset to whatever was the previous counter and not the 2-0. So these are like small things which they might have written tests for. And if you miss this, you might not pass all the test cases. So that could affect your solution compared to someone who has already, let's say, passed all the test cases. So those kind of things. Uh, so yeah, like for these rounds, these are also actually sometimes before the DSA. So it depends on the companies. Really, it's like there's no one format which is going to work for everyone. But most of it, what it comes down to is like you should be good at both. Uh, you don't have to be like really exceptional competitive programming individual. You just have to be good enough for your problem solving skills, such that let's say, I mean, when you're practicing, you're solving the top asked interview questions, but there could be times in an actual coding interview where in a live interview where you might be asked a question which is completely new, which you have not solved before. But even then, there could be some coding pattern which you use. For example, let's say there was this question where you applied binary search, and this new question also, I mean, it can be intuitive to you after reading the problem that, oh, this could be solved using binary search. So that's like the idea of it while preparing. Like you should be targeting enough questions or enough coding patterns, as well as you should be doing questions from like all the topics like arrays, basic data structures, advanced data structures. And in terms of development, what I would say is pick any tech stack which you are comfortable, like which you want to learn. Like let's say, like since we are like web developers, and like right now I'm very going deep into web development itself. If someone is trying to get into data science or data analyst roles, for those people, I would advise that you can check what is the format of interview for your relevant domain, because it would be very different from what is the interview for web development. Like we have like front end, back end. You might not be asked that question. You might be asked some like take home assignments on data science or something like that. So, but yeah, like speaking for web developers, aspiring web developers, this is the format. So For you can it doesn't have to be that you only have to do React on the front end or you only have to do Node just on the back end. As long as you find a tech stack which you feel like interested towards, and as long as you are able to build some basic apps in it, like be active on your GitHub profile, like do some personal projects, feature them on your resume, get them deployed, post them. That actually helps the interviewer to actually see based on looking at your resume. They can also see like whatever is the work which you have already done. So that also helps to land other interviews. And like yeah, like being good at DSA as well as being good at development. Like you should be able to take a small problem, like build an app full stack. If you are a full stack developer, if you are a backend developer, like you should be aware of the databases, how data modeling works, and how a particular tech stack, how what's the best practice to code in that particular tech stack. These kind of things. So yeah, like both of the things are needed. So take your time. If you're already not in final year, if you're already like, let's say you just got into college, you have like 4 years of time, you have a lot of time, and you can explore a lot. You can just like, if you want to go into web development, it's okay. If you want to go into some other domain, it's also okay. Like right now, a lot of domains are there which have like a good career in computer science. So it's like based on your interest, just uh, give it a shot. And if you are in like, let's say if you want to go in the web development track, I hope this video will help you. Like if you are looking for a remote job. So yeah.
I see. Makes sense. Makes sense. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that answer. And I think the time's up, and I think we are out of questions as well. If any of you guys have any questions, drop it down below in the comments, or you
Yeah.
can connect with Shubhashish on his LinkedIn. I'm gonna post his LinkedIn profile in the description, so you guys can check that. And yeah, if you, like I said, if you like this video, please like, uh, comment, and share it with your friends and everyone. Um, so yeah, thank you so much, thank you so much, Shubhashish.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming here, and thank you so much for clearing a lot of doubts about Turing.com and helping students earn a lot of money, like getting into remote jobs, and yeah, just earning what are like what just like essentially it boils down to what a software engineer deserves when compared to what a
Yeah.
software engineer is getting in India. So we are here to remove that, and yeah, thank you so much, and
Yeah.
I'll see you guys in the next video. Till then, goodbye and take care.
Yeah. Thanks everyone. And yeah, like I looked down at the comments for anyone who has any doubts. And I would say that this is just one of the opportunities which you can opt for as a remote software engineer. In the upcoming videos, we'll also review other platforms and other betting processes and how you can prepare for those. Yeah.
All right, guys, thank you so much. See you all guys in the next video. Till then, goodbye and take care.